Good morning, Matt Waldman. Week 10 is in the books. We're here to feel and fuck things. And by golly, I don't know, maybe we should have a change of play caller. Maybe you should do these things. Seems like in Detroit, a little change up serve things well. I might let you lead the way today. No, I'm too.
We could. I mean, I think I've already fucked with the Colts fans good and hard on Twitter.
Oh.
They're upset with me right now.
Oh, everyone's upset for you. By the way, I'm Bob Harris. Hi, how are you? You can find me and Matt both at Football Guys. You can find Matt also at Matt Waldman RSP or mattwaldman.com, where you'll find the rookie scouting portfolio available there and all his in-season content, great Dynasty stuff. I got some in my email last week, I believe. It was fantastic, most joyous, and we'll roll on through the Week 10 festivities. Jaxson Dart, though he was concussed, showed better signs of better downfield accuracy.
I mean, after he got concussed, he was really throwing them. No, I'm kidding. That's not what happened. He did show better signs of downfield accuracy. He had 2 consecutive passes over 25 yards that were beautiful throws to Theo Johnson. One was up the seam. One was a contested play at the boundary. Both of them were really strong. And I think that, if he can continue to show some of that ability to throw the ball, even just between 25 and 35 yards downfield. He doesn't have to become a mad bomber. Right. If he can just do that, everything else with the short passing game is good enough that he should develop into a pretty good starting quarterback.
What's he going to have to do to adjust his game? First, I think this is his first concussion, right? But he's been checked 4 times because he puts himself in harm's way. By the way, fantasy investors don't care. Left the game early, still finished the week, or at least up through, the Monday night games. Quarterback 1 at 28.3 fantasy points. Became the first rookie quarterback to run for a touchdown in 5 straight games. He's quarterback 2 since he took over as the starter. There's been nothing the matter with him. Beat out Matthew Stafford was quarterback 2 yesterday through how many thousand touchdowns? I don't know. It was a lot. So what does he need to do? How can he adjust his game? What's the process here for him to is it just maturation, or is there more to it to get him to adjust his game to better preserve himself?
It's a great question. I mean, again, redraft people don't care about the welfare of quarterbacks whatsoever. As long as they're good when they need them and that they drafted them at the right spot, they don't care what happens to these guys. But really, and neither does Brian Dable maybe right now if he's just playing for a job. But at the same time, he's kind of following the same game plan that they did with Josh Allen, which was, we're going to let you run where we need you to run. We're even going to design some runs for you where they run bash, where they have basically, like a read with a counter on the opposite side. So if it's open for the back to have front side, they give it to him. If it's not, then he takes it backside with a puller. So you're seeing some design stuff to let Dart do his thing. I don't think they care so much this year as long as they're playing competitive football. But in the future, yes, you're going to want to see him run less or pick his spots a little bit better as a runner. And it's not that he doesn't do a bad job of sliding. That he's a little bit, but he does try to mix it up at the end of plays, and he's going to have to stop. He's going to have to climb pockets with a little bit more control and pick his spots when he's running, towards breaking a pocket and throwing, and when he can be a little bit more controlled and incremental so that he can give his receivers a little bit more time. So there's things like that. And then there's just seeing enough defenses. I mean, you just talked about Matthew Stafford. Let's go there for a second. I mean, you could argue, I always thought Matthew Stafford was a great quarterback prospect, but I could see someone making the argument, because people make cockamamie arguments in the NFL all the time. But
I do it here every week.
I might as well do some. So, willingly. Some I don't do so willingly. But I can make the cockamamie argument that Matthew Stafford is great right now only because he survived. That he got to the point of age.
Survival makes you great, though. I mean,
it does.
That's part of it.
He's continued to work hard on his physique to continue to try and prolong his career, despite broken bones in his back multiple times and different injuries that he's dealt with and the punishment that he had in Detroit. But that allowed him to see enough football that now that he's in a heavily schemed offense that is pretty precise on the level of probably Ben Johnson's offense in some regards, that, he's seen, as Tom Brady said, he's seen everything. He knows all the answers to the test.
Right.
And so and you could see that on, this year for sure, in the past few years, where it's just like nothing really seems to surprise him unless it's something that his teammates do in a bad way that he was expecting them to do something different. Otherwise, the defenses don't shock him, and you can see the consistent play and the great play that he's had this year. Dart is at the beginning of that road. He hasn't seen everything that defenses throw at them. He hasn't played in multiple offenses. So it's going to be a bit more of a learning curve, and he's got to stay healthy in order for that to happen.
Some of that may happen soon. By the way, Dart's 25 design runs are the most among quarterbacks, despite him not taking over as a starter until week 4. So Brian Dable has a hand in this, as our colleague Jason Wood pointed out this morning. Also, Dable may not have much longer hand. Like, if we get a notification during this, while we were recording this, that he's fired, it won't be a surprise. The reporting was that John Mara wanted to give him the axe after the implosion in Denver. And got talked out of it. So losing after being 10 points up with 4 minutes left, this decision's
it's like almost losing to an 0-9 team in fantasy.
What?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I know, would. But all right, I'm the 0-9 team. But I have to give it to my buddy.
I have one of those. Okay, moving on. Kyle Pitts should have had a monster day in Berlin. Feel it or fuck it.
I feel it, but he probably should have had monster days in other parts of his career too. But I would say,
I think that's the point.
That's the point that people are going to be a little bit more on. But I also think if you watch that, Penix was short on a potential touchdown to Pitts, where it was Pitts had the step on the defender to the left sideline in the end zone, and Penix would have liked that throw back. That would have been it right there. It would have been a good enough day there. He also dropped a deep over that was wide open that he in no way should have dropped. And then there was a tipped pass that limited the target to Pitts as well that would have been open. I mean, I think Pitts should have had a big day. And if you're
not 2 for 38, or just for the record, 2 of 5 targets. So
he could have been. He probably could have had he probably should have had 5 catches for about 80 or 90 yards and a touchdown. And that would have been the
story of his career, Matt Waldman.
It could have been, but I don't know really, because the story of his career since Matt Ryan has been short passes that aren't really, from shitty quarterbacks. And
I would qualify. I was not speaking for me. I was speaking for the people.
I know. And I'm trying to help the people here, right? Like, maybe, most people don't have the patience to hold out on this, and I get that.
Correct.
But for next year, if you start to see, I like that this kind of continues the storyline I was trying to advance last week, which is that did Penix and company kind of figure out what they need to do, which is target Drake May and Pitts on more athletic looking routes downfield where they can win the ball. And last week I was saying, if they show that they're trying to get Pitts into the act, that's a good sign. And I think they were trying to get Pitts into the act, and it just didn't work out this week. But don't be surprised if it continues to work out in future weeks. Now,
it's got to work out pretty soon. I mean,
it does, or else he's gone.
Year.
It is. But if he gets a strong, the thing is, it may not work out for him, but it could. The long term for Penix could be bright, because they will realize that. Yeah, we didn't have the right guy in Pitts, unfortunately, but we need a guy who we thought Pitts was supposed to be, and we're going to draft that or add that in free agency and find a guy who we can target in this fashion and have a 1-2 combination with London and that tight end.
I think it's possible he may have, whether he's in Atlanta or not, new coaches, new play caller. Things may change there for them as well. Jonathan Taylor. 244 yards against the Falcons, 3 touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime. 244 yards rushing were the most by any player in a game this season. It's also the 4th 3 rushing touchdown game of the year, tied for the second most in NFL history. His 15 rushing touchdowns through his first 10 games are the most since LaDainian Tomlinson did it in 2006 when he went on to win MVP. It's been a good year. Jonathan Taylor was pivotal for the Colts for good, and Matt Waldman for bad. Feel it or fuck it.
I love the setup that you did with that. You did your homework. You really laid it on thick. Not that it was hard to lay it on thick.
I wanted some bad.
The evidence is stunning. Look, the good shit ton far outweighs the bad. But I would say that this game was probably a little closer than it needed to be in some regards, mainly because where as bright as Jonathan Taylor was, the blocking needs a little bit of work. Like the pass protection, he basically allowed 2 sacks in that game, where he just overextended. He's got to do a little bit better with that. He's a great all-around player. He's having a great season, but that's one of those things that you gotta keep your quarterback healthy, because that's all you got is Daniel Jones at this point.
Oh, fuck that. He missed a couple blocks. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, that's all he did. They wouldn't say that of Daniel Jones. If they lost that game, they would have said, man, that 244-yard, 3-touchdown effort was great. But shit, there could, one fumble return, and that's the end of the game. They might have been like, no.
Maybe so.
So I love Jonathan
Instead, it
Taylor.
was the walk-off touchdown.
It was.
He was
fantastic.
But
he was
point
fantastic
taken. And Tyler Warren, I was impressed with his performance against an Atlanta defense that's given up like 5.1 points per game to opposing tight ends. He showed us more this week than in past weeks. Feel it or fuck it.
I feel that. I think he did. Even though Colts fans think that because I like Colston Loveland better, they think I'm out of my mind. But they watch the box score. They also they watch the games. They don't study the games, and I'm just trolling them more at this point. But what Warren did well this week that we haven't seen him forced to do as often is actually make some contested catches, to work downfield a little bit more, to be in situations where it wasn't just thrown to him and schemed open where there was nobody within 10 to 15, 20 yards of him before he starts running downfield with the ball in his hand. And so the fact that they didn't try to use that because it looked like the looks that Atlanta gave showed that they weren't going to be able to do that very often. They had one screen pass that was kind of a gimme for him, but it was hard work for everybody else. But the corner route at the end of the game, it was a nice catch. Now, was it in a wide open space off a 7-step drop with no pressure at all? Sure. Nice catch. There was a 3rd and short, though, that he made a really nice contested play. Had to go up and get it and track it well in a tight area. So I think, what you're seeing is that Tyler Warren is absolutely capable of more matchup type of targets, but they're more, and I would say they're more based on his size and length than his route running ability against man-to-man. It's not like George Kittle and what we saw with him on 4th and 2 against Cameron Curl, playing him tight at the catch point, or different routes that Kittle ran even yesterday against the Rams and made some tough grabs that you would see from a primary wide receiver. But, no shade on Tyler Warren. He was very good.
He was very good. What did he do? What were the numbers? 8 for 99, 8 of 10 targets, 99 yards, 12 yards a catch, longest 24. So we'll compare and contrast that with 4 of 4 targets, 55 yards, the longest of 20 for the great Colston Loveland, who is tight end 1 from the class of 25. Screw the box score, field or fuck it.
Yep, totally feel that. To Colts fans' dismay, to near revolt,
I believe this is the mea culpa. Bob Harris had it right 3 weeks ago.
Oh, was that what it is? Okay, I think that's what it was. Yeah, you had it right 3 weeks ago. That's right. That's right. And so, but I mean, look, I had this guy as number 1 back in April. I still feel that way just based on the quality of the looks that Colston Loveland gets. The type of plays he's had to make, right. the plays with gravity, have been more difficult on the whole than what Warren has done. I would just say that if you put Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren's offense, you would probably see similar production, and maybe even greater production. If you put Warren in the Bears offense, I'd say he'd be good, but I don't know if he would be as impactful down the field.
Like I honestly, I wonder if Loveland, is versatile, could handle some of the inline stuff and some of the things they're asking Warren to do. I think he's not as good for that. But what I was referring to a couple weeks back when I started, Loveland caught my eye. I mentioned it, I think here, I know I mentioned it on the radio that he didn't have a great box score, but just watching him play, watching some of the athleticism he demonstrated on some plays he didn't make, I said, this guy is starting to happen. And it was like a slow rise because of the injuries over the summer.
I think Loveland's a better blocker than Warren. I think Warren I think Warren's used more against safeties and outside linebackers, and it's done in ways where he's more of a lead blocker who shields guys and kind of seals them off. Whereas Loveland is capable, I think, more capable of more of the heavy-duty stuff if you wanted him to do more of that work. It's just they have a good one in Cole Kmet who can do a lot of that stuff. And like the Cole Kmet lead block on the touchdown run for Kyle Monangai was nice. But Loveland can do that type of work. I just think that I think Tyler Warren, the blocking they've asked Warren to do, I'll have to look a little bit more on some of the inline stuff that he's done. But even from what I've seen last year in college, it's like it's solid. It has solid moments, but still how he uses his hands, how he attacks, wasn't on the same plane as what Loveland was doing in line against NFL-sized linemen and linebackers.
Right. I guess part of it is I see Warren in the backfield playing some fullback and leading some plays as well. So but not a large body of evidence there. I guess if I argued anything, I feel like Loveland's in a better offense for the tight end. I know the numbers have been great for Tyler Warren, but I think the way he'll be eventually used by Ben Johnson is probably going to be fantastic.
I think it's going to be one of those things that how it will likely play out, honestly, is that Loveland and Warren will both have very strong careers, and Warren will probably have similar or better yardage numbers, and so the Colts fans will be like, see, you're still wrong. You've been wrong this whole time. But then Bears fans will go, well, no, here's what this guy, here's what we've seen since, during this period, and it's as good or if not better. And then they'll be making arguments that will seem less tangible to the data-focused, I'm hanging on to the data argument from Warren. Because Warren's still going to get, as long as they have a good run game, Warren's going to get a lot of those gimmies, off and on.
Right.
That last 2 weeks he didn't. Steelers really shut his ass down, and then last week, Atlanta couldn't do that. They couldn't play. They couldn't stop Jonathan Taylor. If they stopped Jonathan Taylor, this might have been a different story.
For the availability is the best ability crowd, that's probably the strength for Warren right now over Loveland, is he's been there every game. Loveland is not, and it's been a little bit of a slow rise. Luther Burden. It's almost time, Matt. Feel it or fuck it.
Well, if you're a conspiracy theorist and you think that maybe like the Chicago Bears, front office paid Olamide Zaccheaus to drop 3 passes in the game and also have some sort of questionable, unsure about what kind of injury DJ Moore suffered in that game, then you'd say, yeah, it's about to happen. I'd say based on what you're seeing on the field, Luther Burden looks good every time he touches the ball. He's a yards after the catch machine, whether he has to power through people or make people miss. He's getting 5 to 7 yards even against 2 defenders who are unblocked, and he's still doing that. And then on top of it, there was a pivotal play in the final drive where he had a really nice route. Great pacing to set up the defender and make the catch. I think that it's just up to Ben Johnson of whether he wants to really give him the full treatment. And I think it is coming soon, but I wish I could. But from a fantasy perspective, you're going to have to be – it's one of those frustrating things for fantasy GMs who are like holding on to him. If they have a winning team and they've held on to him, good for them. But, most likely you're a team that's like sitting on the waiver wire wondering whether I should add him. And then you're going to think one of your dumbass league mates who doesn't even pay attention to this stuff all year is going to get the luck of picking him up when it's actually time, and is going to be thumping his chest when Luther Burden has a big fantasy playoff, and you're like, that dude didn't even know who Luther Burden was until it fell in his lap, in week 11, so.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
Bo Nix is bad. Feel it or fuck it.
Oh, fuck that. I know that there are a lot of people who are like, the film watchers are trying to tell us that he's better than he is. Or there's the other argument, which is from some film watchers who say, have you watched the film to see what he's about? I don't know. I watched the film last week of the game where people were talking about that, and I felt like some of the things people were criticizing were actually good decisions on Nix's part. There was an end zone, there was a red zone play that I know got some criticism from some quote film watchers who were saying, oh, well, he should have thrown it downfield to the deeper route. But by the time he got to the top of his drop, there was such a push at the line that there's no way you try to throw that ball unless you want to incur a tipped pass at the line of scrimmage from the back of your own end zone. You take the check down, you throw to the shorter route, and that's what he did. And but people will say, oh, he missed the bigger play, or he runs too much before he throws. Like there's this, he runs upfield and throws the ball, but you see patience even when he does that.
Yeah.
And I've heard some conspiracy theories of like, well, that's why Sean Payton has so many roles for him, because he knows he runs so much, he needs to climb more, so they just leverage it. No, it's because he's mobile and you can stretch the defense outside that way. There's a lot of weird. The bottom line is that the Denver Broncos are a young team, and it's skill position players.
Right.
Bo Nix has had dropped passes. He's had some plays that he'd like back too. But overall, he's played good football, and they're still in a growth mode. And people always do this. They see great stats to begin the career if they start off strong. And then when you see that defenses catch up a little bit, now they're like, oh, he's trash. He's been found out. Now, I don't think he's been found out. We're 28 games in, and I think he's been pretty good.
I think pretty good with moments of great. I mean, like, like you can see what Sean Payton sees anyway. And I think that's what matters here over the long term is what Sean Payton sees. J.K. Dobbins is what could have been story. Feel it or fuck it, Matt.
He is, man. He's still a very good running back, but just to piss off Colts fans even more today.
No, don't do it.
He was on par with Jonathan Taylor as a prospect before the injuries. He was more explosive. He was just as explosive, I would say, shiftier, and I would argue even a better receiver than Taylor. Taylor was a great power player. Yeah,
right. We've seen moments of that. I mean, Baltimore as a receiver for sure.
He's kind of like a Frank Gore story. You watch him and go, "What could have been?" He's such a skilled technician and conceptually strong at what he does, and he's still quick, and he can still, he still understands how to run in traffic and create when he needs to and set up defenders. He's a joy to watch. It's just there's a tinge of sadness there because it could have been a 1-2 conversation between him and Taylor.
Blake Corum. The hell is he? Is he a buy low in Dynasty? Feel that or fuck it? I'm
kind of feeling it. He's got to fix his pass pro because he was doing the Jonathan Taylor overextension and giving up pressure yesterday.
Jonathan Taylor here.
I know. I'm telling you. Not that he was my number one back in the class, but hey.
What the hell, man?
I know. But it's that damn horseshoe,
Get you a ladder so
you know why I hate
off his back.
If I were to give a good reason why I actually hate the Colts, if I did, and I don't, but I would say it's because if Irsay didn't take the team from Baltimore, then we wouldn't have had this crazy ass thing where I'm having to look at the Baltimore Ravens as opposed to the Cleveland Browns, But the Colts, Indianapolis deserves the zombie team that's in Cleveland. That's why, if you want to make up a reason why I hate them, it's because It's because they deserve the zombie team. They kicked all this shit off in the beginning. But no,
what does Blake Corum deserve?
Blake Corum deserves you to hold him on your roster. He's a good cutback runner. He's got some nice burst. There's a lot to his game that if Kyron Williams goes down, all the people who were screaming for Jarquez Hunter, well, we've heard that fall on deaf ears. I think Hunter, Corum's the guy this year and will probably be the guy next year.
Sure. I'm heading to petition.org, and I'm creating a petition right now. It's bad for the league if the Jets sign Breece Hall. Are you going to sign with me?
Yes, I'll donate, actually. Sorry, Jets fans, but maybe that's because I'm dealing with that zombie team in Cleveland that I would rather see.
The bitterness.
I would rather have someone lower on the totem pole I can look down on. Maybe that's what it is. But no, I mean, I just would like to see Breece Hall. There are a number of teams where he could be the final piece to the puzzle for their offense. The Chiefs, the Bears. Those are two teams like right now that I think would really benefit from having him. And I just would love to see him in an offense where he could dominate. And maybe it happens with New York. Maybe they can continue to go in the right direction. But I don't think that's going to happen because they've got some components missing that it seems like, I don't know if they may be leaning on them. I just don't know. The quarterback question has to be answered, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to answer it.
I don't know either. We'll see how it goes. This coaching staff has a lot of work to do, and we'll see if they're capable of it. And GM there as well. Davis Mills is better than I think. Feel it or fuck it.
I would say feel it. Not much better, but I think good.
A better question: is the Jaguars' defense worse than you think? Feel it or fuck it.
Yes. But I think that Davis Mills has bright spots in his game.
Sure.
And I think that what happened is, being the pick that he was, he didn't show quite enough of them soon enough for the Houston Texans to say, oh, you know what, we don't need to draft anybody next year. Instead, they took C.J. Stroud. But I think Mills is one of those guys that could be a nice journeyman starter over the next several years when he becomes a free agent. I don't think he has any special characteristics about his game, but I think that he has a penchant to be able to be accurate downfield. He can move. He can do all the things you're looking for from a quarterback who can start for you if needed. I honestly think that the next project for the 49ers, once they get rid of Mac Jones, is to get Davis Mills behind Brock Purdy if Curtis Rourke doesn't work out.
Well, you say get rid of Mac Jones, you mean send him off to greatness like they did with Sam Darnold. Come on, man.
Is that what's going to happen?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's what has happened.
I don't know. We'll see.
You think somebody's not going to be interested in Mac Jones?
Oh, they're going to be. This is totally – the marketing job is there. They're going to buy into it.
He's been Shanahan'd a future.
That's right. That's exactly how it's going to be marketed. We'll see how that works.
Fair enough. Rashid Shaheed helps Cooper Kupp more than he helps Jackson Smith and Jigma. Feel it or fuck it?
Fuck it. I think he helps both of them very much. And I do think that there are going to be more plays. I think that what happens is you're going to see Shaheed lined up on the same side as Cooper, which will create a lot of nice opportunities for Cooper Kupp underneath. But you're also going to see some intermediate throws that are going to open the field huge for JSN, like last week or like on Sunday, where Shaheed is on the opposite side, but he stretches the safety so far deep that JSN, gets to the opposite flat and is wide open with the ball in his hand.
Cooper Kupp yesterday reminded me of me on some of these episodes that we have here where I just say something really smart and it's like, I'm not dead yet.
Now we could joke, now for the Tyler Warren fans out there, we could joke that Elijah Arroyo was outrunning Cooper Kupp, but Elijah Arroyo was also the fastest tight end in this class and runs like a wide receiver in many respects. So
that is fair.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, he is Cordell Stewart. Feel it or fuck. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I think Cordell Stewart might have been better. I don't know. I as a runner, Cordell was better. As a thrower, yeah, I'd say Fields is probably a little bit better there. But I would say that's where his career is heading, is Cordell Stewart land. I think. I don't think he's going to get another chance to really be a starter.
Do you think the Jets give it another year? I mean, the Jets have to do something, right? They gave him the 2-year deal. He's not going to play that out.
No, he's going to either be backing up or it's over. Yeah, and Garrett Wilson is. We're hoping for Garrett Wilson that his long-term deal winds him up with a good quarterback.
He's hoping it winds him up getting him traded like Sauce Gardner.
I don't know why he signed that. Well, yeah, I know why he signed the big deal.
Well, sure,
the money now, cash in hand, right? So there you
go. Sean Tucker averaged 5.9 yards per carry yesterday against the Patriots. Pretty tough run defense. 9 of 50 for 53, had a long of 18. Rashad White 10 carries, 38 yards. 7 a yard being the longest. 3.8 yard per carry average. Sean Tucker is NFL starter talent. Feel it or fuck it.
I feel it. Very good cutback runner. Really sets up creases nicely when they are available, or even there's a whiff of one to be able to set up. And when you get him in the open field, he has true explosion. We didn't see it last week to the degree that maybe we want to, but he's also finishing strong when he gets into the secondary. He's got to take on a defender. I think that he's probably a lead back in a committee that's close to 50-50 split, or a really high-end complement. And I think he can have, what I'm saying is he can probably have fantasy value for you in the coming years when he does get that shot. And I think it's coming soon.
Kyle Williams, 1 catch, 72 yards. He was fast, and it went for a touchdown. It had my attention, Matt Waldman. He'll overtake Kayshon Boutte. Feel it or fuck it?
Fuck it, not yet. But I think it could happen. It would be nice if really if it turns into a Boutte-Williams tandem, Boutte-Williams tandem with a dash of Demarius Douglas once Stephon Diggs' career is over. But Williams has to learn how to catch the ball consistently with better technique. And I know that drops are a thing, or aren't a thing. We'll talk. Matt Harmon does a great job of talking about how drops aren't really that big of a deal in the scheme of things, and I would say that's true to an extent. It's not a big deal if your technique is decent and you make big time grabs, and you come up and you get open and you do all the things you're supposed to do, and occasionally you drop the ball because it's just hard to catch a football in the NFL as a primary receiver. But if you're Deontay Johnson, or if you're Robert Meacham, or your guys that have primary level athletic ability, but you're dropping too many targets to be relied upon, and you're dropping the easy ones that you should have caught because your technique is bad, you're not going to get on the field in the first place or stay on the field long enough to be able to make those plays.
Which has been his issue.
Yeah, so I think that's where we got to worry about him some, but I think he's going to overcome it.
I have no worries. I just opened up my next gen stats centerfold page, and here we go. Kyle Williams, 9th fastest speed in the NFL this year on that 72-yard catch and run, 21.78 miles an hour.
As long as your pants are on and it's not a JJ Zachariason show, we're okay.
All right. Charlie Kolar will make Isaiah Likely expendable in Cleveland. Feel it or fuck it.
In Cleveland.
In Baltimore. My bad.
I have completely influenced you. I love it.
I'm assimilated. I'm like the Borg. You're like the Borg. I'm assimilated.
I have. See, now if I can only get the Colts fans they already are zombies right now. Yeah, I would say from what the Baltimore wants to do, which is probably more of having a better blocker and a guy who can win in the zone coverage, they're not worried as much about the explosive element that Likely brings. Baltimore fans will probably be disappointed if Likely doesn't get re-signed, but I have a feeling that he's going to command a little bit of bigger money, thinking that he can be our Oronde Gadsden in a new town. So that very may well be the case where they may stick with Kolar because Kolar can do a lot of little things well. And fans will be will probably be shaking their fist at the Ravens whenever Kolar makes a mistake or they don't have that explosive element and they see Likely doing his thing. But I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Probably going to be moving on from Mark Andrews as well. So we'll see that. Carolina, the Panthers. This is a shots fired moment here. Still need a true number one wide receiver. Feel it or fuck it.
I feel it. I like what Tetairoa McMillan is doing.
Tetairoa, say it right. Put a little respect on the man.
Tetairoa. Excuse
You're
me.
about
Thank
to
you.
Take him down. At least be nice enough to say his name.
I know. But isn't that how narcissists do it? Like they say the name wrong.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Tetairoa. Yeah. But yeah, Tetairoa McMillan makes some nice catches. I see some nice routes in zone. Certainly does a good job in all of that. But when they ask him to run, they haven't really asked him to be a one-on-one receiver against tight coverage. The Saints played him kind of tight on one play, and it was a back shoulder play that Bryce Young didn't do him any favors. So the holdout would be, can we get a quarterback that does him some favors to make some of those plays?
I feel like that might be the right.
You
right
could say that
there.
There's an argument there that may be the case, but we're talking once a game. Would another 15, 20-yard catch make a difference? Yeah, probably would in fantasy for you, where you could look at him that way. I just don't see him. I kind of see him like Steve Smith. I think Steve Smith is like they keep drafting the same receiver, but they're not getting any primary guys. I think they would have been, I think they probably would have been better off looking at a Matthew Golden or looking at a player who gave you a little bit more of a speed element, who can be a little bit more versatile. But McMillan's going to be a good NFL starter. I don't know if he's going to be a primary guy.
He's the next Muhsin Muhammad. What are you saying here?
kind of like a Michael Pittman, like where it's like the numbers are top 15 worthy at best.
Taking another shot at the Colts now, man.
But
it never ends.
But I mean, I think I've got something good for them coming up, I'm sure. But I mean, like Alec Pierce would be a good example of a guy that I think could grow into a primary receiver, and he's getting better. He's getting better by each year, and I love what I'm seeing out of his game.
Yeah, it's been very good this year. Surprisingly good for fantasy purposes. So Lad McConkey, are we done with the child prodigy skepticism, Matt?
I sure as fuck hope so. Because I mean, he can run all the routes. You can see him you can see him win on the outside. He does very well after the catch, and he was just off to a slower start because, Justin Herbert was saying, "Oh, Keenan, I haven't seen you in a year. It's so good to see you." Hugs, nice little conversation. Let's catch up. How are we doing? Put the arm around and start talking for a little while. And then, oh, yeah, now we got to get to work. And Lad McConkey's been doing a lot of that work lately.
He has been doing a lot of work. Did a lot of it last night. We'll see how if that's persistent. I feel like we're getting. Maybe it's just because it was our expectation. We thought this feels like normalization, right? But Aronde Gaston throws a wrench in the works. Quentin Johnston got 10 targets also yesterday. I think this is still an open book. There could be some ups and downs over the course of the rest of the season. But I agree with you.
I just want to know, where's Lad McConkey since everyone said that he was going to be number 3 in the pecking order? Where is he in the fantasy rankings right now? I'm just curious.
Well, he's not number 3 in the pecking order.
Yeah, that's for sure. But and his production in fantasy, I think, has been pretty strong since like week 4, week 5.
Let's find out, Matt Waldman. Yeah. I've got the numbers in front of me. We'll run them now.
All right, good. Meanwhile, I can tell people about how much Edgerrin James is one of my favorite running backs of all time.
Since week 4, you want to do week 4?
Sure. Let's see. Let's say
he's been wide receiver 7.
Okay, and I don't think there's anybody ahead of him in L.A., right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, credit to Jeff Bell, who reminded us all. I remember on a Thursday night audible a number of weeks ago when he said, "Yeah, I remember this time last year when everybody said Ladd McConkey wasn't going to be a thing, and he turned into a near top 12, top 15 receiver, from that point on." Well, here we are, folks, once again.
I think the only difference is here, honestly, is like it was a slower start, but it's because we are used to the Harbaugh Roman duo having one receiver at a time. Like that's been the history, right?
Right.
Well, Greg Roman, even without Harbaugh, it's one at a time. It's all he can handle. Now there is more than one. So I think that's the real issue. We're just confused. How the hell did this happen?
I'm glad that Harbaugh, former quarterback, can be an influence there.
Let's finish this up by circling around to where we started. Dan Campbell should continue to call plays for Detroit. Feel it or fuck it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think that
Jameson Williams investors would agree.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was Dan Campbell making John Morton apologize to Jameson Williams a couple weeks ago. I don't know, but apparently things ran a little smoother. And it's funny because people will say, well, Dan Campbell was more seen as a defensive mind. Dan Campbell was a tight end. Right. He was a tight end, and So, I mean, I think he understands offense reasonably well, and he understands the flow of play calls and all of that. Tight ends are usually some of the smartest guys on the field.
He's a Metallic fan, so you could tell the high end level of intellect that he has.
Exactly, and he made things so simple and profound for beat writers when he came in and told them what he was going to do that they all made fun of his ass.
The best part is that's exactly what he's done.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
He is exactly what they said he was. He said they were going to be, and then some.
And he fooled, but they overthought it.
Of course, they thought he was a simpleton. Now, if only Sean McDermott could call plays, we'd all be much happier.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that game. I got to check that out. I might check out that monstrosity. And
all right, everybody, that's it for this week's episode of Feel It or Fuck It. We'll come back next week and feel and fuck more things. Until then, find my work at Football Guys. Find Matt's work at Football Guys. Find him also at the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. Also on the X platform, putting out all kinds of consistent flow of information that's very educational and will lure you up. You can listen to me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports
Unless
Radio.
You're from Dan Quayle's home
every
state.
damn day. Indiana Jones will not have you. All right, that's it. Goodbye. Love you.
Love you.